Hi, this is John Savage with Unwind Financial, and I'm going to talk to you about cryptocurrency today. And I do usually talk about financial counseling, different things on financial counseling, budgeting, credit, debt management, strategies for saving and managing money, cutting expenses, as well as insurance services, mitigating risks. Talking about property insurance, auto insurance, doing insurance reviews. But today, I'm talking about cryptocurrency. Yesterday, I did a presentation for an organization on cryptocurrency, but today I want to talk to you about something I'm realizing with people and how we can respond or react. Right now, a lot of people are reacting to what they're hearing versus what they're researching and learning for themselves on cryptocurrency. And even beyond just cryptocurrency, because that's just the onboarding method, right? You're for blockchain. So we're going to talk about that. So let's get started. So a lot of people are in the FOMO. We've been hearing it more and more. I remember when I used to hear about that, I'm like, what in the world is that? And I realized, okay, fear of missing out. Or just fear in general. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of things that we respond to, listen to, based on what we hear on the news. There's a reason there's so many media outlets because the whole thing is to communicate a particular message to a particular audience, right? And there's audiences all throughout the country, in every state, every city, and so forth. A lot of people think cryptocurrency is some kind of scam. There's a whole bunch of scams that have been going on before cryptocurrency. So what's the difference? With cryptocurrency, yes, there's bad actors, if you will, that are doing things. They do that with the dollar. That's been around for years. Why do you think we went from gold, silver, Caesar, hundreds, thousands of years ago, putting his emblem on the coins, right? Um, and thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, if you look at all the rulers over the years, they've put their emblem on the coins for a reason. So you know that this belongs to the king. This belongs to this ruler. This belongs to Pontius Pilate, and so forth. There's no difference. And so the difference is, it's been how to more securitize assets. And with the blockchain, it allows companies to do it more efficiently, faster. You even cut out the middleman. It gives you the opportunity to um, be able to transact business between peer to peer, between both parties. So business to business versus having an intermediary, like the clearinghouses, the banks, the clearinghouses, the settlements company, and then, of course, to the other bank. Well, with blockchain technology, you can eliminate a lot of that now. And that gives you a decentralized authority versus the United States Treasury having authority to print at will. Well, is obviously back in the time of Lincoln and war, he allowed them to print in order to be able to print money for war. And that was during a wartime emergency exercise. Well, to this day, we never stopped doing it. And with that, when it comes to money, influence, and power, there's people who have greed, right? So there's things we can control and there's things we can't control. But one thing I can tell you is cryptocurrency is here to stay. And it's not so much about the cryptocurrency, I'll talk more about that in a minute, as it is the technology behind it. The technology behind it is very important. Now, how it's used, that's going to be in the hand of the beholder. So there's different companies out there. Yes, there's a lot of people who are using it to make money. People have been printing money and still counterfeiting money. We don't complain about that, do we? People will look at someone else and say, man, they got caught printing $10 million worth of $100 bills. Well, there's a reason for that. Someone who's a crook, professional, you think they dress a certain way, look a certain way. No, they're very savvy, very professional. Some of them are in big companies. Some of them are in every single sector of our society. But cryptocurrency itself is not some kind of scam. People use that tool. It's just a tool to transact business, to put contracts, smart contracts, and titles of properties and loans and things on the smart contract to securitize it in order to validate its authenticity. So that's what the blockchain technology does on a lot of things. It's used for different purposes, from the metaverse to gaming. As you know it, Apple, Microsoft, and others are getting into that. There's a lot that they're doing that's not being talked about right now. But one thing for sure is you're going to miss out on opportunity. For those of you who have the opportunity to invest some extra cash into cryptocurrencies right now, it's the time to do it. It's almost like a stock market in and of itself, but it's on the blockchain. Just like you have stocks where you invest into Companies that are growth companies, right? Very aggressive growth companies. There's a lot of them. Talk about unicorns in the startup world, and they go public. Great. Well, they still have a long way to go. It takes a long time. I have a startup company that we hit a roadblock, and I understand what that's like to deal with the challenges. And you have so much bandwidth and your burn rate. You're trying to figure that out with limited funds, so it takes time. So imagine when you have a bigger company doing that, and they go mainstream on the media. You see them on the stock exchange, they ring the bell, get you a lot of attention. It feels good, looks good, right? Haven't been in that position yet. But one thing I will tell you is um, many people will still invest in those companies. Right now, with your retirement accounts, how many people have actually gone and looked at their retirement portfolio and how their assets are allocated? How many? I talk to people all the time who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and they don't even know where their money's actually being allocated. They might know something about the fund and what they have, but it just takes some time. You don't have to know everything, but it does take time to understand what you have in your hand and what you're doing with what you have. If you don't have it, that's one thing. You work to build it and continue to increase. But right now, people just put money in retirement just because they're told to put money in retirement. And when I ask them, well, what are your goals for retirement? Well, I haven't really thought about it. I don't really know. Just putting a lot of money in. Well, what's the purpose for each account? That's great that you have 5 accounts, but if there's an emergency and you had to go to a tertiary option, where are you going to go? What account? So anyway, so my whole point is a lot of people are concerned about because it's lack of understanding that cryptocurrency is a scam. It's not a scam. People are using it as a tool to scam people. People use dollars to scam people. I've had people come to me. We've all had people come to us at some way, shape, and form to scam us on the phone, via email. They spoof you, all kinds of stuff that's happening. People don't cry about that. But with this, it's more about the technology behind it. The initial coin offerings, just like initial public offerings, when I mentioned about unicorns going public, ringing the bell, they have their initial public offering that day. They raise a lot of funds. That's great. But now that's when their work really begins once they get to that point, if that's their exit strategy as they grow. And so you're investing in a company and your belief, it's like voting. Right now is a perfect time. We're all talking about voting, even though there's other candidates besides two, but you don't control the media, so you only get to see the two highlighted because that's what you're supposed to see. And so same thing with cryptocurrency. Right now, you only hear what you're supposed to hear. But what do you want to hear? You just want to hear the truth. You want to have understanding about cryptocurrency. There's a lot of experts and people that are very wise in this industry. They've been in this for years. I've been learning, watching them, and it's a lot to learn. And I'm enjoying this process. So that's why I even, with my book, it's kind of blending in here, but cryptocurrency, riding the final wave. And I'll get into why I say that in a moment. But this is my book I published this year, talking about cryptocurrency, sharing a little bit about my experience and what I've observed and the knowledge I've gained so far that I just wanted to share with people. And that's what I'm doing today. Don't fear something you don't understand. And that's what happens when you don't understand it. Some people run the other way instead of going to it and say no, because it takes courage to stop, to learn, to figure it out. It's easy for us to run when we don't understand something. People were probably disgruntled at first when think about it. You have gold, silver, platinum in your hand, and you have it at the bank, and all of a sudden, and the government says, "Oh, we're going to give you notes for that. It's going to be called a dollar. We're going to basically confiscate your money, your gold, your silver. So where you used to be able to barter, now we're going to be able to track you easier because now you got to go get a job, you work for someone, and that's what's been built over time, right? Well, with the blockchain, it's decentralizing a lot of that activity, putting more control back in your hands, but it's also allowing companies to be more flexible as far as reducing their accounts receivable. So it's going to save millions and billions of dollars a year between many companies, which I'll name here in a moment. So think about it. Companies can increase their profits just by moving over to the old way of doing things. Right now, we're on the SWIFT. The SWIFT system is over 50 years old. It's antiquated. It's slow. It's costly. You have all these intermediaries that I mentioned earlier that you have to go through, and it's a process. SWIFT isn't going away. I don't believe that. I believe what they've been doing because they have a system that's well structured throughout the entire world, where governments have been using it for years to transact business all the way from the United States, all the way to Iraq, all the way to United Kingdom, Singapore. It doesn't matter. So what's going to happen is there's going to be, I believe, both rails, as they call them, where money's going to be moved on the back end as well as the front end. The back end, trillions and billions of dollars within seconds are going to be able to be moved. You've heard of XRP. We know about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a higher carbon footprint than XRP or Litecoin. XRP is much quicker, it's very efficient, but they have a way of managing funds on the back end, and it's very stable and so forth. So anyway, and they all have their way of validating things as well. So that's a whole nother thing I won't get into. Yeah, proof of work, proof of stake, proof of consensus. That's used for these different blockchains. Um, but so there's things basically to protect and provide more security, faster resources to get from one point A to point B. So there's a lot of benefits when it comes to blockchain technology. And cryptocurrency is just allowing you to onboard and offboard your money. So if you go to MoneyGram, right now there's a relationship that's being built between the Stellar Foundation. So you have XLM. You can look that up. You can go on CoinMarketCap and learn about all the different cryptos. It's basically the ticker symbols of cryptos, just like you're going to find on Yahoo, on CNBC, on MSNBC, and so forth. And you look on those ticker symbols with those companies, you're going to find a lot of information when it comes to the cryptocurrencies, as well as news about them. Or if there's a lack of news, you're going to learn about at the top where it moves on the ticker. It shows you who are the gainers and the losers on CoinMarketCap, or you can go to CoinGecko as well. That's another popular platform that a lot of people are using, who are well into this industry, who get paid to do this all day, if you will, online. But I want people just to really be educated, do your homework, study. You don't have to know everything, because this is a fast-paced, rapid-moving industry. And when it comes to digital technology, we've already been digitized a long time ago, but really going on the blockchain and migrating. So that actually started before Satoshi Nakamoto's paper back in 2008, and then the official flagship coin, Bitcoin, as you know, which many consider Kevin O'Leary and other big names out there consider that to be the gold standard of cryptocurrency. It's decentralized, it's secure, and that's where some people will talk about. You've heard of some senators, I won't mention any names, who've talked about it right now in a negative light, saying that it's just used for scams and committing fraud. Dollars been being used for scams and committing fraud for years. The stagecoach, when Wells Fargo was Wells Fargo back in the 1800s, what happened? People would go to steal the gold and silver and other precious metals or notes and resources that the bank was transferring from one location to another. And so things have been upgraded over time. Well, guys, we're in another upgraded, but this one is doing more decentralization instead of centralization. Now, is it variable, a lot of volatility right now? Yes, it is. So right now we have more volatility, but as we get more stable, that's going to stable out. And part of that is the bad actors. There's several thousand blockchain companies, developers, all out there, and you'll see them everywhere. Most of those people just trying to make money, just trying to get in on making $100,000, $200,000 real quick. They come today, they're gone tomorrow. That's not the focus. In fact, a lot of that's a distraction. You see all these coins out there. You even see Brian Armstrong's the current CEO of Coinbase. He's done a great job of building a lot of things and managing things, and now he's even dealing more with legislation and dealing with Congress and trying to help with stabilizing the market and get more regulatory clarity. That's part of the case for those who know what the SEC been dealing with for over 3, I guess going on 4 years, which has been very interesting. It's like fighting against something that's going to bring opportunity for the people, but certain things aren't really meant for the people in mass, as they should be, because it's the people who help hold up the country, right? And then you have those at the top, in the middle, and the top who help make decisions that's for the people, and by the people. But decisions aren't necessarily like that now. So that's part of the problem. Why you're hearing some fear, things are put out there on the news. Backtracking on certain things that were mentioned on some of the media outlets when it came to talking about stocks and investments, where these things are bad, it's not good, and then now they're saying, okay, this is great, Bitcoin's great, Ethereum's great. Well, JP Morgan, they're a smart company. They've done a lot of great things. They've created a ton of jobs over the years and a lot of opportunity for many more people directly and indirectly connected to them in their business services. They've been invested in this for a while. And one of the big ones is Ethereum, which a lot of companies are using the technology called Solidity. They're using that software to program new blockchain technologies off on top of the Ethereum network. So anyway, there's a lot out there. Blockchain technology brings present unique opportunities for all of us in the healthcare industry. We all know the healthcare industry needs a lot of cleaning up. Needs to be more efficient. There's too many mistakes that happen. You have utilization review departments, but that's not enough. We need to be able to figure out a way to have blockchain technology implemented where from the front end, when someone has a service, they're told a certain thing. Not only is the service provider held accountable, but also the client, the customer, the patient in this case for healthcare is getting exactly what they were told and expected because people are on a budget. And most people are really being affected over 90% of the country. When you say one thing, you do another, or there's an error, not taking responsibility. I believe blockchain technology is also going to hold companies more accountable from whether it's the energy sector, hospitality sector, healthcare sector is a big one. It's one of the more costly ones, right? Transportation, putting things on the blockchain and tracking. It also is going to be able to help law enforcement, being able to know who's who and what's what, and identifying people better as far as their vehicles and who owns what, and being able to track things and being updated more accurately. Because when you have what false information, sometimes people get pulled over, and they don't have a good description of the person, or maybe someone that take the time to really evaluate the description. Whatever the case, I've had that happen where I had a situation when I was younger. Somebody was much older, and me and my buddy were trying to help that person out while he was on the phone, and something happened where it could have been very costly, and I was trying to just help as a young kid, didn't know any difference, and all because of decisions. Well, blockchain technology can help be preventative in some of those cases, hopefully. But so there's a good part to it. And of course, we want to be able to hold more people accountable, but also we understand those, as they say, bad actors who commit crimes and do things they shouldn't do can affect all of us. So do your education, do your homework, find out more about it. There's a ton of opportunity. There's ways to make money as a company grows, as you support what they do. They're nonprofits. I'm not going to say they're tax exempt nonprofits, but they are nonprofits, pretty much most of the ones I've seen so far. In the United States and Singapore and Europe and throughout the other countries. Blockchain is everywhere. Blockchain's here to stay. It's even being used. There's a coin called Dent. It's being used in Africa and throughout the world right now in other countries. A lot of people who don't necessarily have certain resources and the fortunate what we have here in the United States to have access to communications in the way we have it. Even libraries just going down the street in any 5 mile direction or 3 mile direction have multiple libraries and access to things. You can even go to an Apple store and actually get on the computer testing it out. But with Dent, that's where you can actually share credits for family members and friends to be able to have more credits on their phone to be able to make calls to family and friends or someone they might need credits for. You can even earn them free using the Dent app. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. Find out about Coinbase. When I got started with Coinbase, I didn't know what company to even start with. I was just doing my research, just trying to figure out what is Bitcoin, what is Ethereum, what is blockchain technology, what is cryptocurrency. Those were some of the initial questions I asked. I spent 2 to 3 days just researching that, and then I spent the next few months just trying to better understand even those basic things. Started testing things out, literally $5 here, $10 there. In one case, I wish I would have done quite a bit more. I didn't, but it's okay. It was a learning process, right? I wanted to make sure I made the right decisions first instead of creating risk and opening doors I didn't realize I was opening. So VeChain was one of those companies. I started out with Binance, realized they have a license office here. Zhang, he's out of China. He has Binance out of China, but then we have the office in San Francisco here right now. They've had some changes that need to be made, obviously, if you watch the news. But they have the U.S. office here. I have a license for that in San Francisco, California. So anyway, that's how I got started, just researching, testing. Then I started understanding about the hot wallets on your phone to cold wallets where you use the apps, but then having things like Coinbase card, crypto.com card. I've tested a lot of things out just to understand the process and even earning crypto while you're doing transactions. What do you do now? For those of you who have credit cards. And what I love too with some of these cards, when you do a transaction converting from cash to crypto or from crypto back to cash, if you had some earnings, for those of you who are making a lot of money with it, however you allocate it, you can move money around quickly, efficiently. And one of the things I mentioned earlier, kind of going back to, I didn't say too much on it, but it was MoneyGram, the Stellar Foundation. They've been working together. Well, MoneyGram moves money all around the world. Stellar to me is like the silver, to XRP being like the gold. They're more efficient. They have a low carbon footprint, and the costs are like zero to none almost basically. And so you can move money super cheap, super fast, and it's done in a way where everything is validated and guaranteed and processed. And so being able to get money to your family cheaply instead of what it costs, maybe $25. I remember my mom sent me money with Western Union. I think it cost her one time like $25 just to send so much money, but she did it because she loves me. And I was in college needing some additional support. And that's what she had. But she sent it out of what she had, and she didn't have a lot. Well, think about those who don't have a lot and they have family in other countries. I talk to people who have family throughout Kenya or Nigeria and other places in Africa, to India and places throughout India as well, throughout the United States, Costa Rica, Mexico, all these different places. And all my conversations, I have them throughout the year where they send money to family. Well, now if you have a new opportunity to do that at a much faster rate, they can get what they need quicker. Sometimes people need medicines back in their country, and they might be able to go more direct in here where you might have to go through a gatekeeper if it's a HMO. So there's so many opportunities with this. And so I'm going to leave it at that for now, but I just wanted to share with you that don't fear crypto. Don't talk about crypto. You use the dollar. The dollar's not even worth what it was. It costs another 12.5%, 12.3%. Approximately the cost went up on the dollar as of like 2013 or later. So we're using something that it's been devalued. It doesn't have a lot of value. That's why we owe over $35 trillion in debt. The United States does as of today. And then you're wondering why your credit card rates are going up and other rates are going up. The half a basis point, what is that doing to the country when people have been priced out of homes, priced out of jobs, are losing more jobs right now? I don't care what's being on the news. I'm talking to the people myself. They're being given heads up of the job market, their job being disrupted possibly in the next 2 to 3 months. So do your research, find out more about it. Excuse me, and diversify your assets and the opportunities to be able to protect what you do have and grow what you do have. Until next time, thank you for your time and unwind.